Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, I want to thank you for joining me once again. I wanted to share with you some thoughts on our reality, our consciousness, who we are, twin flames, soulmates, and how the universe works ultimately. So, this book is probably the book I have lent out to more people and have had more people tell me that it completely changed their life. And this is called How the Universe Works, Pathways to Enlightenment. It's by Leah Maggie Garfield. And so she is a Pomono shaman. So this comes from a Native American tradition. And there's wisdom in here. And the more that I've studied, the more I recognize that things go together. And that's what I've been trying to get across to everybody. If we don't look at fundamentalist thought, and when I'm saying fundamentalist thought, I'm saying of the Abrahamic traditions. When we look at everybody else's thoughts, there's a lot of congruency. There's a lot of things that really go together. So whether you're talking a North American shaman, a South American, indigenous person's belief, an Australian or Aboriginal, somebody from Africa talking about their tribal beliefs, and we could go into Siberia, and we could even go into our European roots pre-Christianity. Most of these people saw the universe in pretty much the same way, and it's the same way things are hidden in the mystery traditions, and that's what we've talked about as well, talking about Hermeticism, Kabbalah, things along those lines. And so this book is very, very interesting, and it was a great read and very uplifting. And I came back to this after studying a lot of medical QiGong, because in medical QiGong, which comes out of the Taoist philosophy, I started to realize, this is kind of like a lot of Taoism again springing up in here. It's amazing how all these other traditions have the same sort of viewpoint, which is very different than what has become the mainstream fundamentalist point of view. And actually, it gets into tremendous detail about explaining exactly who we are, what we're doing here. For instance, also, what exactly is a soulmate? What is a twin flame? Is there such a thing? These are questions that are very interesting to put up there. And so ultimately, really, we could look at it as if each one of us is a single drop in the ocean, a single drop in something so big and so vast. Yet when we are in that ocean, absorbed into that ocean, we are the ocean. And so, we go from being this single drop, this single tiny little minute particle, into becoming something that's so enormous and so vast, so powerful, it boggles the mind. And so when we look at soulmates, as you see here, soul love is an eternal bond between soulmates woven beautifully by God, Source, Prime Creator, the All, however we want to word it. The more you know your soul, your own soul, the closer you get to meeting your twin flame. And there are many people that are always in search of their soulmates, in search of their twin flames, knowingly, and wondering, is this it? Is that it? Can she be it? Can he be it? And so, some of us spend our lives looking for that right one. And twin flames do not complete you, because you are already innately complete at a soul level. They instead complement you deeply and help you grow, learn, evolve, and integrate that missing part of your soul from 2 to 1. 2 hearts, 1 soul. So the twin flame is thought to be even more intense than the soulmate. So what exactly are twin flames? What exactly are soulmates? Well, first off, we're not just a body, as probably most of you have realized. We are multidimensional beings, and some people have a problem with thinking in those terms, but truly we are. We are operating on more than one dimension at the same time. When we're asleep, our astral body is out and about exploring a whole other aspect of creation and having experiences and interacting with others as well on the astral planes. And ultimately, we can do this at will with training as well while still awake. And so we know from pretty much every other tradition that we are not here just once. We are born, the body is born, the body dies. We go on into a new journey, as we've quoted the Bhagavad Gita. Worn out souls, basically, it's just like a garment. We shed. The dweller sheds the worn out garment and takes a new garment on. And it's the same thing with souls. When the body is worn out, the dweller sheds it and goes and experiences another life, learning in another body. Thus, the purpose of life is all about learning and experiencing. It's just simply about being. It's not really about getting down and just chanting praise to one particular god or goddess. And it's really not about that at all. It's a celebration of life itself. And it's a learning process. It's almost as if we come here for schooling and to learn and experience opportunities that we would not otherwise be able to without taking on this physical body. So the soul also has been smothered in these dogmatic beliefs, and as a consequence, its development has been slow, and knowledge of things spiritual has not come to men as it should have done, and as is necessary to teach them their destiny and the truths which will control their lives on earth and which will control their progress in the spirit world. So one of the worst things that's ever happened to us is the dogmatic religious beliefs that we hold that restrict us from fully experiencing the world and fully growing as beings, conscious, sentient beings. It slows down the growth of our souls themselves. And so when we're kept in these beliefs, and especially when these beliefs are imposed on others, it slows their spiritual growth. And that is a huge, huge thing. And that is how the dark side has controlled us, because that is part of the way they do control us. These beings that don't want us growing, don't want us going to all new levels of consciousness and understanding, because then we would understand that they really can't control us and that we are much more powerful than they are, because they don't have that connection to source that we can realize and that we can manifest and pull energy down from. Source is in every one of us, every single one of us. It's alive and well in all of us, and it's just a matter of kindling it. It's a matter of cultivating it and really recognizing who we are, because we're extremely powerful. We do not need any intermediaries. We don't need to really worship anything when you get down to that. What it comes down to is when you recognize the connection to source, there's a love that builds up in you, a love for you yourself, as well as all those other beings that are going through this experience, and then a love and gratitude for source in and of itself. But also you recognize that source is in you having these experiences in a myriad of different forms, a myriad of different ways, a myriad of different possibilities. Every single possible gradient is being experienced through individuals that are all connected to source. So we don't have to be fearful. And once you recognize this, there is no fear. There is no feeling like I have to bow down to the god of this or the god of that. You recognize that everything that has taken an incarnation is just like you. And it's just on a different part in its personal path. And ultimately, that is such a liberating thing, a liberating experience. So as we see here, the cycle of birth and death, and we were talking about what is the Atman. The Atman's the eternal soul, so that's source alive in us. And moksha, or salvation, leads back to the realization that source is alive in you. And so we have the source of all that there is, basically at the top. And then we have what we call our higher self. And then we have soul groups, The soul is part of a soul group. You have the oversoul. And then we get down into different incarnations. Now, make no doubt about it, there are dark forces that are always trying to attack us when we start to get on this path of true understanding. From the Buddhist tradition, enlightenment, being enlightened means basically the same thing that the Gnostics were talking about when it comes to gnosis. You understand how things really work. You understand who you really are. And so while there are these dark entities, and in the Islamic tradition, they speak of jinn and other supernatural entities as well. Of course, we have vampires from some of our traditions. We have demons. We have all sorts of negative beings, incubus and succubus, that control us through the sexual aspect, feeding off of our sexual energies. There's all different types of beings out there that are lower level beings. And so when we see this is the silver cord connecting her astral body. They will attack us on the astral, and they'll also sometimes attack us on the physical. And most of these beings lie in the lower 4D realm, lower astral realm, which in many people's thought is exactly where we are right now, ascending up and into, and why we're seeing these beings all around us all the time. It's because, our vibrations, even when we're awake, are going to a much higher level now. And so, they're going to be able to see us. We're going to be able to see them. And they are going to attack us more. The key is realizing who you are. And we realize, again, you might be in this incarnation, but there is a higher you that is way above where they are. And when you tap into that power, you can shut off their attacks really quick, and they will shy away from you. And I had woken up one night when my son was when he was about 8, he had a series of nightmares, so he came and slept in the bed with me. And I woke up one night, and there was this dark blob of energy. It looked like a black hole with glowing red eyes, and it was hovering over him, doing something to his energetic field. And so I just got enraged and put my hand out towards it, swiping at it and saying, "Get the bleep out of here." And it hissed at me kind of like a snake, and it just immediately took off and left. So we can send these things away. And it's with knowing what lies inside of you. And so for a Christian, it might be a good and easy way for them to use Christ as their bridge to source. Although when I got rid of that, I didn't use anything. It was just the power that was flowing through me. And so, that's why we all have that connection. We all have that power. And that's why prayers will work, whether you're praying to Buddha, to Jesus, to any of the gods, quote unquote. It's ultimately a connection to the higher aspects of you, although there are benevolent beings that will help you, benevolent conscious beings that want to assist you, in your journey in consciousness, or the realization of what the source of all things truly is and how we are connected to it. So you see, again, source, and then we might have what we might call more like the angelic realms, the Davic realms. There's different soul groups, come down into oversouls, and then you see the individual soul, and then extensions, which we could also look at in terms of different lives as well. And this is out of the lawofonesociety.com, and it's breaking it down yet again. So imagine, if you will, this background infinitely present in all directions as that of the mind of the one infinite creator. So I do believe there is a one infinite creator. I don't feel that the mainstream fundamentalist point of view really expresses things as it truly is. And that's my personal take, just after a lifetime of study at 54. When I was 5, my brother died, so right away, I saw the Catholic Missal and the Bible, and so I was having my friends that were 8 and could read to me, tell me what's in there, because I wanted to know where my brother went. And then by the time I was 11, I had already read the Bible cover to cover the first time. I've read it all a million times. And I've read all the other traditions I could get my hands on as well, including like the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, all the Hermeticism I could. And I've read into the Kabbalah, studied that, Taoist philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, you name it, because, it's the only way in which you could get to the truth and see the common core and see that which also has been hidden on purpose and hidden in such a way as to create fear so that we won't go seeking it. So you see, the pineal gland is the gateway to intelligent infinity. In other words, it's the gateway to source. And it is uncomfortable sometimes as it opens up. And I've experienced periods of, at sometimes headaches, at sometimes intense pressure. It feels like your skull is going to rip open. But it is the key. And the more we could connect that to source and know that we are a part of source, the more we could help ourselves and each other. And that's the key when you're doing energy work, is opening up the upper chakras. The crown chakra and the third eye chakra merge as one when you're able to open up the pineal gland to a much higher degree. And the energy that rushes through from above is intense, and it can do anything. It really can. It can heal like anything. If our consciousness is assured enough of the fact that we are connected to source and we could tap into that power. And it's also up on the person, because if the person you're working on does not truly want to heal, if they haven't faced certain things yet, that they haven't learned lessons, then they will not heal, because their oversoul, their higher self, knows, hey, I haven't accomplished the mission yet. I haven't learned this lesson, and that's a big part of it. So you see, basically higher self, oversoul, mind, body, spirit, totality, or form maker. And after death, a mind, spirit, body complex rests here for review and reincarnation. It's all about, what did I learn this time? What do I got to go back and do over that I haven't learned yet? So there are all sorts of beings as well with us. So you could think of us in a single incarnation as the learner. Then you have the source self, the oversoul. There are advisors, which are usually people that are in our soul group. So these even could be incarnations, other incarnation of our higher self, and often it is the case. And then you have archangels and the like right next to source. And so when you see the oversoul has different incarnations that come out, incarnations. And you see co-beings. So when you get down to it, this is really where our idea of soulmates come from. And here you see a source or essence self. And so this is what you would call the eternal soul aspect of yourself. That comes and incarnates time after time, different ways, different countries, even different planets. And here you see, different incarnations, male, female, etc., etc. It's all about learning. It's all about learning. So twin flames would be beings that are coming from the same soul group. And more than the same soul group, you're basically from the same oversoul. Whereas if you're talking about, let's go back over here. If you're talking about soul mates, then it's farther up the line. And that's part of that soul group. So when you're talking, twin flames, you're talking more at the lower levels, and that's why you vibrate so closely together. It's like there's this completeness, because it really is you. You're both basically from that same higher self, that same higher soul. And so you resonate together, and it's just amazing how you click. And then you have soulmates, which would be from farther up the line. And usually our, what we call our spirit guides, they come from our same soul group. And sometimes, you know, it might be your mother in a different life, who might be your daughter or son in the next life, who might be your best friend in another life. That's the way it basically works. And so I was amazed to see the similarities between these beliefs and the beliefs in the medical QiGong side of things, as well as other indigenous people around the globe. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think of all this? How does this sit with you? Because with me, this really feels like the way things are. It just feels right. It feels right at a very soul level. And I have felt that connection to the higher self. And it is amazingly powerful. It is overwhelmingly powerful and reassuring. So I definitely encourage you to do your meditation and, you know, whatever it is that you like to do, whether it's Qigong, mantras, yoga, you know, any form of still meditation. That's where all the answers lie. They lie within. They don't lie in any dogma. So my friends, as always, like, share, subscribe. Thank everybody for your support on Patreon. Again, you could join the family for as little as $1 a month. Help support the family and keep it going. Keep getting the message out. As always, my friends, God bless and namaste.